Hello, peoples. How's it going? So, you know what tonight is? It's Spooky Story Sunday. Scary Story Sunday. Whatever. We got Fredward here. He's always with me. He's special. Last week I had talked about us doing a paranormal episode of this. So I have picked for tonight 10 most terrifying tales of real life hauntings. We want the real life shit because it's the best. So whether or not you believe in ghosts, there's no denying their allure, right? Right? A lot of people are skeptical. You know why they're skeptical? Because they're fucking scared. It's true. Some people latch on to ghost stories because they relish the excitement and the intoxicating appeal of the unknown. Others cling to them because the very existence of ghosts affirms their belief in the afterlife, regardless of what form it may take, and the rest just want to have the crap scared out of them. I think I'm all of the above. Yeah. Humanity, has a long and sordid fascination with ghost stories. They feature prominently in the Old Testament and can be found in literature as far back as Homer's Odyssey. Hell, Shakespeare practically made a career out of telling ghost stories, with Hamlet, Macbeth, and Richard III, all showcasing apparitions in various levels of prominence. Today, entire industries are propped up by our fascination with the undead, and ghost stories can be found anywhere at any time. True. Very true. Every year around Halloween, our love of all things ghostly tends to kick into overdrive. Mine is like triple overdrive. I love that shit. Haunted houses start popping up like pimples on prom night. Scary movies dominate TV listings, and our Netflix homepage and countless websites start producing ghost-themed clickbait. Hello. There's a reason for our phantasm obsession, though. Ghost stories are compelling, and when it comes down to it, we all like to be scared on some level. But true ghost stories, hauntings that supposedly happen in real life, have the potential to be the scariest of all, precisely because they're based in reality. The following list contains no boogeymen, demons, or monsters. It does, however, feature some of the scariest, most infamous real-life hauntings ever recorded. Ever. Okay. 10 of them. Let's try to get through them all. Number 10, Kate Morgan haunts the Hotel del Coronado. I want to show you the picture too. I like showing the pictures. You know. Oh, if you can see it. See that? Outside of my ring light. Okay, when the Hotel del Coronado... Jesus Christ. Don't get all crazy. When Hotel del Coronado opened its doors in 1888, it was the largest resort hotel in the world. Over the years, it has hosted numerous high-profile guests, including heads of state, A-list Hollywood actors, and, if reports are to be believed, more than a few ghosts. More than a few. Sounds like a place we should view. That rhymed. I'm a poet, didn't know it. The most famous of these is undoubtedly Kate Morgan, who checked herself into the Dell one November morning in 1892. She checked herself out 5 days later with a bullet to the head. Yeah. Or at least that's what the authorities believed. But something about Kate's death didn't add up. The bullet that was taken from her head didn't belong to the gun that was found in her hand. She also checked in under an alias and lied about her reason for being at the hotel in the first place. While we may never know for sure what happened to Kate, one thing's certain: she never left the hotel. Guests and workers alike have reported seeing a woman matching Kate's description, period, clothes and all, walking the halls of the hotel. And guests who spend the night in her old room report drastic temperature changes and feelings of being watched at night. Whatever Kate Morgan's motives were for being at the hotel in the first place, she sure seems to be enjoying her stay. I don't think she wants to leave. She hasn't left yet. Okay, Kate. Scary. Number 9, the Winchester Mystery House. Now, this is one of my favorites. Okay, here's a nighttime picture of it. If you can kind of see there in the ring light. Okay. If there were an all-star team of haunted houses, the Winchester Mystery House in San Jose, California would be leading in the rankings. The sprawling Victorian mansion in Sicilian Valley is unsettling, to say the least. The mansion was built by Sarah Winchester, the superstitious widow of William Winchester. The couple amassed enormous wealth from the manufacture and sales of the Winchester rifle. After William's death, Sarah moved to San Jose and began construction on what would ultimately become the infamous Mystery House. Legend has it that after her husband's death, Sarah Winchester consulted a medium who told her that she would be continually haunted by the spirits of all those killed by Winchester rifles. And she was. She truly believed that she was being haunted. She could appease the angry spirits. However, if she never stopped construction on her home, she hired several construction crews to work day and night on the expansion, but she neglected to hire an architect. So the house is full of engineering oddities like doorways that open up to 30-foot drop-offs, staircases that lead right into the freaking ceiling. Sarah later justified the bizarre design of the mansion, saying it was intended to confuse and mislead the angry ghosts that plagued her. You think she was crazy? Or you think she was actually haunted by a bunch of fucking pissed off ghosts? Maybe a little of both. One then the other. That's what I'm thinking. Today, the house is a popular tourist destination for amateur ghost hunters hoping to catch a glimpse of one of Winchester's trapped spirits, or, if they're lucky, Sarah Winchester herself. Now, this is a place where I would really like to go. Really. I've actually dreamt about it before. Never seen the house. I've seen pictures and things like that, and I've actually dreamt about it, being chased by ghosts that I don't recognize through this crazy maze of a house, you know, doors that go into fucking walls and ceilings and stuff. And yeah, it's super creepy, but awesome. I want to go visit. Number 8, the Ghost of Gettysburg. Now, this is supposed to be one of the most haunted periods of history. That is what they say. Historians, If ghosts are somehow physically, let me show you the picture first. It's just a battlefield with a bunch of deceased people. Okay? Gettysburg. If ghosts are somehow physically linked to the locations in which they died, it stands to reason then that the battlefields would have significantly higher rates of paranormal activity. Gettysburg, Pennsylvania is certainly no exception. The Battle of Gettysburg was the largest battle of the American Civil War and saw the largest volume of casualties of the entire campaign. Today, the battlegrounds is often cited as the most haunted place in America. The most haunted place in America. I think we should go. And it's no surprise, considering that thousands of soldiers on both sides of the conflict lost their lives here. Visitors to Gettysburg often report sightings of ghost soldiers and even entire ghost battles being fought out. These apparitions, or whatever you want to call them, are still at war. Unfinished business. They're still here. Yeah, don't gotta tell me twice. Number 7, Eastern State Penitentiary. There's lots of hauntings in penitentiaries. Probably just about as much as there are like psych wards or old hospitals, asylums I should say. Okay, another haunted Pennsylvania landmark. I think we need to go to Pennsylvania. Seems pretty haunted. Eastern State Penitentiary was a prison that was opened in 1829 and operated for almost 150 years before finally being shut down by the state in the 1970s, I believe. For more than a century, the prison housed the most brutal murderers, serial killers, and rapists the state had to offer, and it kept them in harrowing conditions. No heat, no plumbing, spoiled food, and if the prisoners stepped out of line, the sadistic guards were all too happy to throw a little torture their way. Yeah, they were tortured pretty bad. The penitentiary is now a museum and a full-time haunted house attraction. Visitors can still see the ghostly shadows of long-deceased criminals roaming the halls of the former prison, and if they listen carefully, they might hear the cries of tortured prisoners echoing through the cell block. This prison has a reputation for its ghostly activity, that it has become a favorite destination of paranormal researchers, and I can see why. Because there's a lot of pissed off criminals there. The undead. Okay, I'm back. I had to go somewhere for a minute. Did you miss me? I bet you did. We're at number 6. And number 6 is The Bell Witch. This is also one of my favorite stories. I know quite a bit about it, but I'm going to read what they have here. I'll show you the picture. There's not much. It's very blurry. It just looks like somebody took a picture of the woods and it clearly caught something on camera. Like, you know, some ghosts and shit, and aberrations. Okay, do you remember the Blair Witch Project? Yeah, we pretty much all do. I liked the movie, but all the shaking and shit of the camera just made me completely dizzy and nauseous. Yeah. Anyways, you know that nausea-inducing shaking cam horror movie from the late 90s? See? Yeah, they said it. About a bunch of stupid kids who get stalked in the woods by a misunderstood elderly woman named Blair. Well, that travesty of a movie was directly inspired by a real-life legend. The Bell Witch hauntings began in the early 19th century in Adams, Tennessee. The Bell family, led by patriarch John Bell Sr., were supposedly being pestered by a local witch named Kate Batts. The haunting started off innocently enough, with members of the Bell family hearing scratching noises coming from the walls, but events quickly escalated. Soon, family members were being slapped and pinched. Their names were being screamed by unknown entities from deep in the woods, and animals were being mutilated and left for the family to find around the home. It was fucking terrible. Okay, nobody knows exactly how or if the hauntings eventually stopped. One thing's for sure, though, we finally have someone to blame for the ungodly amount of found footage horror films that currently plague our society. The Bell Witch. See, that story goes a lot deeper, and I'm not going to get into a lot of it because we still have half of our stories to go, but the father, John, was, I believe, molesting or raping his daughter. And it was terrible. Like, the whole thing's terrible. You'll have to look it up, or I can at some point get into it further, but there was a whole thing about it, and it was fucking terrible. Yeah. Okay. Number 5 is Resurrection Mary. I've heard of this title, but I actually don't know much about the story, so I'm excited for this one. And in the picture, I'm not going to show this picture to you because it's literally just a road with a couple pillars and some trees. Looks like a cemetery, sort of. This one has become such an iconic horror movie cliche that it's almost surprising it's actually based on a real story. Resurrection Mary is a real ghost who lives, it says non-lives, and remains dead at the Resurrection Cemetery in Justice, Illinois. Okay. The story goes that Mary got into a fight with her boyfriend while out dancing one night. She stormed out, and while walking home, she was struck by a hit-and-run driver, and she was killed. She was buried in Resurrection Cemetery. What is this, like fucking Pet Cemetery for humans? Because, I mean, I want to know where that's at. Where's that at? Ever since her death, numerous motorists driving along Archer Avenue in Justice have reported picking up a beautiful blonde hitchhiker who always asks to be let out in front of Resurrection Cemetery, at which point she promptly disappears. Resurrection Mary has become something of a local celebrity, and she's been the inspiration for countless other stories and legends. Okay, I did actually see this on an animated video this dude was driving down this road and there's a beautiful blonde and he stops and she's asking him for a ride and he's like, yeah, sure. You know, she's cold and shivering and all that. And she asked him for a ride. So she hops in the back of the car and he takes off. She asks to be dropped off at the cemetery. He's confused, like, why? Why do you want to be dropped off here? It's dark out, it's cold, it's creepy, whatever. He looks back to say goodbye, and she's already out of the car. She's not even in there. And he doesn't see her anywhere. She just vanishes. Super creepy. But yeah, I'd actually like to check that one out a little bit more. Okay, number 4. This one's creepy, and we all know this one. Okay, number 4 is the Stanley Hotel. Holy fuck. And I will show you a picture of this because that might be important in this story. Yeah. The Stanley Hotel is famous for inspiring one of the most celebrated works of horror fiction, Stephen King's The Shining. Classic. Iconic legend. The hotel is located near Rocky Mountain National Park in Estes Park, Colorado. I probably pronounced that wrong, but I don't give a shit here. We're not in school. Okay. So it had the inspiration to write, Stephen King had the inspiration to write the novel after staying in the nearly empty hotel the night before it was scheduled to close for the long winter. The eerie confines of the deserted hotel creeped out the king of horror. See what we did there? So much that he thought he'd scare the rest of us too, just so he wouldn't be alone. We were going to make a misery loves company joke there, but thought better of a second King pun. But Stanley's connection to the paranormal goes back far beyond King's novel. The Stanley is said to be haunted by numerous spirits, most of whom are harmless, like the ghost who enjoys playing the grand piano in the lobby late at night. Others, however, are decidedly more sinister. Guests in some rooms have reported waking up in the middle of the night only to see dark figures standing over their beds. Once the guests are awake, the spirits calmly and silently walk out of the room or through the walls. You know, that'd be fucking scary, and I know it's scary because that type of shit happens to me. I'll tell you a little bit about it as soon as I'm done here. Okay, number 3, Chloe at Myrtle's Plantation. Excuse me. And it actually looks just like plantation would, like you would think. It's a big plantation house. It's actually really beautiful. I wouldn't mind living there. Okay, Chloe was a slave girl who worked for Mark and Sarah Woodruff at Myrtle's Plantation in St. Francisville, Louisiana. According to legend, Mark Woodruff caught Chloe eavesdropping on a private conversation between the owner of the plantation and some business associates, and as a punishment, he had her ear cut off. What a fucking asshole. Who does that? It's a bit of an overkill, don't you think? Yeah. Fredward? He agrees with me. Always. After she recovered, Chloe took to wearing a green turban wrapped around her head to cover her disfigurement. In retaliation, Chloe baked a cake with boiled down extract of oleander, an extremely poisonous plant. This girl knows her stuff, and served it to the Woodruffs. Her intent was to exact revenge on Woodruff and his wife. But Mark never ate the cake. Instead, Sarah and her 2 young daughters ate the cake and promptly died. That's a hell of a whoops. That's a big whoops. There is some doubt as the veracity of this tale. Nonetheless, visitors and plantation staff alike reported seeing the image of a young girl wearing a distinctive green turban wandering the grounds at all hours of the night. She's not alone either. It's believed that there are as many as 12 different ghosts that haunt Myrtle's Plantation. That'd be a good one to visit too. Such a sad story though. She meant to kill the husband and she killed the wife and kids. Okay, number 2. Madame Delphine LaLaurie. Okay. One of the earliest and most prolific serial killers in the United States. I don't know how to say her name, so I'm just going to say it. LaLaurie was a singular kind of evil. She appeared to be an upstanding member of the New Orleans social elite in the early 1800s, and by all accounts was a perfectly pleasant person as far as antebellum South societal standards go. But despite her general outward appearance, Madame LaLaurie was an uncompromising sadist who brutalized and tortured dozens, if not hundreds, of slaves over the course of several decades. LaLaurie tortured her slaves in the attic of a grand mansion she had built for her and her family on Royal Street in the French Quarter. The mansion still stands and has become one of the biggest tourist destinations in New Orleans. Okay, this is like from American Horror Story, season 3, The Coven. Is it The Coven? Yeah. If you've ever watched that, this is what the story is implying. This is what it's from. So, people say they can still hear the screams of tortured slaves emanating from the attic, and more than one has reported seeing the portly ghost of LaLaurie herself menacing visitors who trespass on her property. Fun fact, Nicolas Cage briefly owned the home several years ago, officially making the LaLaurie Mansion the craziest place in New Orleans. Fuck. She was very sadistic. Very sadistic. In fact, she even caged her own daughters because they were interested in the houseboy, who happened to be black. So, very racist, very just a puke of a woman. Number 1. The one we've all been waiting for. Right, Fredward? It's been a fuck of a long time, hasn't it? Number 1, Lizzie Borden. Lizzie Borden took an axe. Okay. Everyone knows the folk rhyme. First, I'm going to show you the picture, of Lizzie Borden's house and also Lizzie Borden. Okay? I hope you can see that. All right. Okay, everyone knows the folk rhyme. Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw that what she had done, she gave her father 41. Okay, Lizzie Borden murder case was the O.J. Simpson trial of the 19th century. Andrew Borden, a prominent businessman in Fall River, Massachusetts, and his wife Abby were murdered in their home on the morning of August 4th, 1892. Lizzie, their spinster daughter, was the prime suspect and was eventually tried for the murder of her parents. After a lengthy trial, Lizzie was acquitted of the crime on the grounds of insufficient evidence. There was nothing. I don't even know. Like, it's such a good story. I have no idea if she fucking did it or if somebody else did. Like, we just don't know who did it. Somebody did it, obviously. But, okay, no one was ever convicted of the murder of Abby and Andrew Borden. Lizzie lived out the rest of her life in a new house in Fall River, eventually passing away in 1927. The house where the murders took place, however, still stands and now operates as a rather morbid bed and breakfast. I did not know that, and I really want to go. Really bad. Okay, guests who have stayed at the inn claim to hear footsteps and see ghostly apparitions walking the halls. Visitors brave enough to stay in the room where Lizzie's mother was killed have reported being awoken by blood-curdling shrieks coming from the floor on the side of the bed, the exact spot where Abby was bludgeoned to death. Does that make you want to go stay there? Does me. We should go. We should pack our shit and go. So that's that. Which story was your favorite? Which story you want me to elaborate more on one? I've done a lot of talking today, so my mouth is like blah, blah, blah. Just having trouble with it. Let's see here. Paranormal. Okay. I want you to tell me in the comments. Okay, a lot of people have actually experienced some kind of paranormal experiences. It's not a very uncommon thing. I do think there are a lot of skeptical people, and I think the reason that they're skeptical, there's a few reasons why they may be skeptical. 1, it's too fucking scary for them to even fathom. 2, nothing has happened to them, and they're the type that has to see to believe, whereas I'm the type, believing is seeing. 3, I don't know my last reason. I forgot it. It's up in space. But I never really believed in this stuff much as a kid. I did a little bit. I've never been a non-believer, I'll just say that. But as I've gotten older, and yes, I do have some seizure activity going on and stuff, so my brain's a little bit different than other people's. And also, I've been struck by lightning. Not directly struck, but I was within the force field. This just happened to me about 4 years ago. I think it was about 4 years ago. It was storming really bad. I was talking on the cell phone to somebody. Lightning struck close to the tree that was right outside my bedroom window. Everything was purple. My heart skipped a bunch of beats. I was really hot. The right side of my body felt like it was burning. Like I said, everything was bluish purple, and I couldn't talk. The person on the phone was like, Amber, are you there? And I wanted to talk. It just, nothing came out. So I had to go to the clinic and get checked out, make sure my heart was in proper rhythm and all that. It was fucking scary. But ever since that has happened to me, weird things happen. I'm not going to say they're weird. It's just that I'm more sensitive now. I'm like more aware of my surroundings, even the stuff that people can't really see. And it's not that I see a lot of things. Like, I don't see ghosts every day, but I hear things. Also, I dream a lot. I always have had a lot of dreams. In fact, when I was younger, I was on medication to stop me from dreaming just because I dreamed too much. I had night terrors and stuff like that. But I kind of get messages in my dreams from people. And it's not always people that are dead. I'm getting messages from people that are still alive. Mostly they have passed on, though. I'm getting messages from people who have passed on. Obviously, I don't really talk about it a lot, and this is just between us. Don't you go tattling on me now, okay? Because I don't need everybody to know I'm crazy. Well, they probably already do. Fuck it. Tell everybody I'm crazy. It's fine. So yeah, that all happened after I got struck in the force field from the lightning. That all started happening. So I don't always see things. Two times in my life I have seen something. I did see fog. It wasn't like what you think. Like, if you see a ghost, like, you literally see like a white sheet or something, or like a white cloud. What I saw was almost like an aura, but there wasn't a body attached to it. So, and I do see auras. That started happening after the whole lightning thing. In fact, the first aura that I ever seen was my daughter Gemma's, and it was bright orange, and I thought, what the hell does that mean? And so I started studying auras and stuff like that, and yeah, I can see people's auras. I can see the tree auras too. If I look at trees, I can see the color on the trees. A lot of people don't really believe in that stuff, and that's fine. That's, you have that right. But for those of us that do believe, that have had things happen to us, we believe for a reason, because we know that we're not motherfucking crazy. We know what we saw. We know what we heard. We know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So I want you guys to tell me in the comments, or message me, whatever you're more comfortable with. I want to know if you have some ghost stories to tell me. Like, what's happened to you? I've had a lot more stuff happen to me, but I got to cut this short because it's getting kind of long. So let me know in the comments about any of the stories that I went through tonight. Or, if you have any ghost stories for me. I love ghost stories. I really do. It'll be my reading material for tonight after I'm done with music. Fredbird, do you have anything to say to our people? Probably not. He doesn't. He's not a talker. He's kind of shy. Yeah. So, anyways, it's Sunday night. That means tomorrow's Monday. I want you all to have a blessed, beautiful week. Be happy. Be healthy. I love you. Bye. Good night.